case, State of Ohio versus John K. Merck II, case number 24CR18. The defendant is present today in court represented by attorney Nicole Novotny. We were previously in court November 18th. The defendant pleaded guilty to count 1, trespass in a habitation when a person is present or likely to be present, a felony of the 4th degree. This case was then referred for a pre-sentence report and victim impact statement, and we're set for sentencing today. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Novotny.
Good morning, Your Honor. We would like the court to consider community control sanctions. Ultimately, we would like the court to consider that based on the incident at large. Looking back and having multiple conversations with Mr. Merck, he regrets his actions that caused this to be in front of you today. After long conversations, he understands that there's no excuse for the ignorance of the law. Ultimately, even with how short of a time frame that he entered the premises, mind you, just seconds of his entrance. Mr. Merck did not have any malintentions of entering into the premises. All he really wanted to do was to take pictures of the work he completed outside, inside, as well as pictures of where he was injured. Additionally, he did want to retrieve a tool that he had left at the premises. Ultimately, after long conversations, Mr. Merck and I have went over this event over and over again. And ultimately, there could have been different avenues, and we have established that with each other at this point in time. Fortunately, we can't retract his steps at that point. Such pictures that he believed would be helpful for his pending civil cases involving his injury at the job with the homeowner, as well as the lien that resulted in his injuries and not being paid for the work that he completed. Because of being injured, John broke his foot. I believe he had 2 ribs fractured and a tooth that was knocked out. I've submitted paperwork to the court to review that he does have an upcoming surgery on his foot. It's January 22nd. Previously it was scheduled earlier, and he has pre-op that's scheduled on January 15th. So he does have those appointments that are coming up to establish second surgery and preemptive stages for that surgery. Since such injury and with the job, things had changed with him and the homeowner and resulted in the termination of their relationship here and ultimately caused this event, unfortunately. I know John feels the utmost remorse for his actions and would rethink it based on our conversations, every step that he took that day. But just so the court knows a little bit about John. John, he's an operator of his wife's business. Ultimately, it's called Extreme Creators LLC. It was created in 1994, so he's been gainfully employed with that since that time frame. He's a sculptor. He's a prop maker. John is very grateful for the opportunity that the court allowed him to have to complete the works that he needed to complete due to the deadlines that were due. And he actually completed all those works that he informed the court that he needed to complete. He provided me an update on every step of the way with regard to that. So he's very grateful for that opportunity. Not only does John sculpt all kinds of works of art, Your Honor, he does give back to the community with his business. I know I've supplied to the court newspaper articles about ultimately he has multiple events that he's held at his home featuring his creations and giving back to numerous charities such as the MS Society. I know that's a near and dear charity for his family due to his wife's diagnosis with MS, which I know John helps out a lot with her in her everyday life. He also raises money for puppy pads, which they provide shelters for dogs, Your Honor. So he does really give back to his community with the work that he does involved with. John is also the primary caregiver of his elderly parents. I know he helps them on a daily basis doing and performing their everyday functions, so he's vital and necessary to help them move around and perform their everyday needs. Additionally, John is the parent of a 17-year-old daughter. I thought this was inspiring a little bit that they waited later in life to have this daughter to make sure that both of them were established. He is the primary caregiver for his daughter and very dedicated to being the dad that he is today. I know John had an eye-opening experience in jail. especially when I visited him and saw his reaction to everything around him. I know he wants to talk a little bit about that experience with you, Judge, and how eye-opening it is, and how he never wants to go back. John hasn't been in trouble for over 2 decades, almost. He's come a long way since then, Your Honor, and we hope that based on the information we supplied the court and the support that he has today, consisting of his wife, his friends, his colleagues, and himself, that you would consider community control sanctions. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Merck, what do you want to tell me?
Your Honor, I know there's no excuse for ignorance of the law, and I'm not trying to give you any excuses now, but I would think you would like to know what my thoughts were on that day. I really was totally and completely ignorant to my actions. I had no bad thoughts or any kind of evil intentions or revenge in mind at all, nor was I thinking I was doing anything wrong. I fully understand my mistakes now, and I'm so very sorry to Dave, the owner, and his family, to you, and myself, because it disgusts me and my family greatly by my own ignorance in many ways. When I went there on the property on July 5th, I treated the property with the utmost respect and care. I was wearing a bright neon green construction shirt, and I was not trying to sneak or hide in any way. I always follow the law and do the right thing. It's just not in my DNA to enter anyone's personal property, ever. My thoughts were I was entering a construction site, not a home, which I was told by the owner that the lived-in side of the house was walled off from the construction side until it was completed, and I still thought it was walled off. When I was taking my photos, I saw a worker inside through the window, and that's why I went just right inside the door. All I wanted to do was take photos of my work and retrieve my tool. By the owner's own text to me, I thought I was following his instructions. He didn't mind me being there. I got along greatly with everyone there, and even gifted a teenage Amish kid a new razor knife kit because he let me borrow his knife the day before, and I saw he needed a new one, so I got him one. I even was talking to the Amish's driver and found out we had a friend in common and that he has not spoken to since junior high, so I called him on the spot and put the two together. Everybody there liked me. They had no reason not to. Your Honor, even when myself and the owner parted ways, we still kept it very civil. We both agreed and wished it did not go that far. We also had that in the text from the both of us. The days I spent in jail was beyond real to me. I could not find comfort, whether sitting, standing, sleeping. I always felt I had to watch my back because of all the craziness going on in there. I had feelings and thoughts of fear. What's happening to me? How could this occur? What's going to happen to me? I thought I would be the only old guy amongst the bad young people. Boy, was I wrong. I could not believe how many old guys were in there. I kept to myself and wanted to be left alone by everyone. You think the old guys would give wisdom on how not to be in jail, but the conversations I heard was quite the opposite. They taught the young ones how to be worse criminals. At first, I could not understand why I was asked to even take a drug test because the charge was not drugs. I understand now because no matter what crime anyone did in there, they all take some kind of drug. When the guards would come to the door and say meds, everyone, no matter what they were doing, even sleeping, would run to that door, except for me. I was in shock how they acted, and I was the only one who did not go in line. It was completely unreal to me. It was like little kids running to the ice cream truck. It was pathetic and sad at the same time. Thank you. Since then, I have not been able to do my work correctly, attend family holidays, and act normally because it affected my nerves, my thoughts, my core in every way. I cannot eat, think, or sleep the way I used to. I wake up, it's my first thought, and a wave of fear comes over me. It consumes me fully, it just doesn't go away. I appreciate your thoughtfulness, respect, and fairness throughout this case, Your Honor. You've been very fair, and I know you did believe in me because you let me go home for Christmas. Thank you. I'm here because of my own mistake. I plan to own up to that mistake and make amends for it. Well, I can't go back in time and reverse what I did. I can rest assured I will never do it again. So please, Your Honor, I beg you to believe in me again. I know I have to pay for my mistake, and I should. Thank you for your fairness, time, and consideration.
Anything else, Mr. Novotny?
Yes, Your Honor, I believe people in the back would like to speak.
All right, whoever wants to speak, just state your name and tell me what it is you want me to know.
My name is Sarah Bevick. I'm John's wife. And John is not just my husband, but my best friend and rock, and the most dedicated father to our child, Aubrey, that we both waited until 43 to have, to make sure that we were established to give her everything a child deserves. She's 17 years old now. Throughout our marriage, which is going on 40 years this January 12th, he has consistently demonstrated unwavering integrity and a strong work ethic and a deep commitment to our families. Even when faced with challenges, his resilience and kindness have never wavered, especially when dealing with my multiple sclerosis. His personal anecdotes and positive qualities go above and beyond the support of his family and selfless acts of kindness, which are to name as follows. He has thrown multiple events at our home that drew thousands of people and raised thousands of dollars for the MS Society several times, and for his love for animals such as puppy pads, an organization that gives outdoor animals permanent shelters. Even when we first met, John redid almost every room in my mother's house and never asked for a penny, even though she offered to pay. Last year, John witnessed a semi overturn on the freeway in front of him, and he pulled the driver out to safety and sat with him until elbow drive. A friend of John's, who was caretaker for the sick and elderly, needed to employ someone for 6 months to help a gentleman with Alzheimer's to get out of bed, showered, dressed, and fed. John would even sing to him to get him to move. He never took a dime. John's elderly parents, more specifically his father, has gone through several surgeries in the past year and a half and has not eaten solid food for a year, and needs help to help him be fed through the feeding tube that he has done several times a day. John's family is an honorable family, and for 3 generations, no one drinks or takes drugs of any kind, not even a single divorce. They work things out with love and respect. I know mistakes happen, and I'm not asking you to overlook the situation. However, I wholeheartedly believe that my husband is capable of learning from this experience and become an even better version of himself. He deeply regrets his actions and is determined to make amends. The thought of him being separated from our family for any period of time would have a devastating impact on us all. I humbly plead with you to please consider his positive qualities and profound impact he has on our lives when making your decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Jim Bazinski, and I've been a public school educator for the last 31 years. I met John about 20 years ago at a convention. I would say that the backbone of John's character is his willingness to give his time, to give up his time away from Mira, his time away from his daughter Aubrey, his time away from his friends, to make sure that his clients get the very best at what he does and goes above and beyond that. It's unfortunate that we're here today because of a business dispute, and I truly hope that because John's success has everything to do with his reputation, that reputation isn't tarnished here today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. On behalf of the state, this was a case where the defendant was hired by the victim to complete some construction work on his home. This was not an open-air construction site. This was an addition to a home. The addition was connected to the main portion of the home through a large hallway. This addition had a kitchen, a living room, a bathroom, an additional garage, and the defendant parked his car on the side street this day, back in July, around 6 a.m., and walked through the backyard up to the house and opened the door and walked into the house. This was not a case where he parked on the driveway. He did not call the homeowner to inform him that he was coming or ask for permission to come. In fact, he was told not to come back to the house. And the defendant said that in his interview with the police department, that he knew he was not allowed at the house because he had previously sent a female associate to pick up a check in relation to the work that was performed there because he knew he was not permitted to go. The victim was home, as well as his wife and several young children. They were asleep in the house, as well as another employee was present when the defendant entered the home by the name of Josh Russell. The victim had video surveillance. The defendant did have his cell phone in his hand. You see him entering and exiting the house and walking up to the house. The defendant did not leave with a tool in his hands that he claims he went there to come get. He didn't employ any other options. He didn't call the police and ask for assistance. Can you help me obtain this tool that was left there? I'm not supposed to be there. He did not do that at all. He violated the victim's sense of security, sense of trust, by entering his home without permission in the middle of the night. The victim, as well as the witness, Josh Russell, have been very scared since this has happened. They were not expecting it to happen, and they have suffered and thought about this since this has happened because it was so unexpected, and they were scared. The defendant does have a history of criminal convictions. He has several prior convictions dating back to the 1980s. The pre-sentence report does not note any probation violations, so he has demonstrated his ability to comport himself with any court orders as demonstrated by his criminal history. So the state is recommending community control sanctions. We're recommending local jail time. And the state is also recommending no contact with the victim, his property, his family in person or by any electronic means. And I would also recommend a no contact order with the witness as well, Josh Russell. Thank you.
All right, I've reviewed the pre-sentence report and the material submitted to me by Ms. Novotny. I've listened to Mr. Merck, those in support of him, and counsel. Mr. Merck, you're the kind of guy that likes to kind of play on the margins. Okay, you knew you weren't supposed to be there, and by parking where you did and taking the path to get to that door, you were trying to conceal yourself to some degree. Otherwise, you'd have parked in the driveway. Your past experience in the system, although it was a long time ago, indicates that you knew on July 5th that you shouldn't have been there, but you went anyway in a sneaky sort of manner. When you pled on this case, and I didn't let you out on the OR bond because I believed in you or didn't believe in you. That had nothing to do with it, okay? I let you out on that OR bond to finish the job that you had to finish. That's why I let you out, okay? So don't misunderstand that, okay? Because I don't know you. All right? I met you at the pretrial, at the plea, at the bond reinstatement, and today. That's all I know about you, other than what I see in this report, okay? You have continued to maintain this position that you didn't take any drugs. And I recall you specifically tell me at your plea, when I asked you if you'd taken any drugs or alcohol in the past 48 hours, you said you had never taken a drink of alcohol or taken any drug in your entire life, right? Remember that? And that wasn't true, okay? You've admitted that wasn't true in this pre-sentence report. On your subsequent test for the drug test of probation, the levels were substantially less than they were 8 or 9 days earlier, which doesn't happen naturally. It happens by action taken by you, okay? So, look, you can tell yourself whatever you want to tell yourself, and you can believe it if you want to believe it, but I don't believe it, okay? I don't believe that this was a business dispute. It wasn't a business dispute. It was a criminal act that you knew you were doing at the time. You didn't take in any secondhand smoke or eat a brownie or any nonsense like that, okay? You've used marijuana in the past, so knock it off. I'm gonna place you on community control for 3 years, 15 days in the jail with credit for 15. You're not to use any drugs, okay? You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you'll be screened. And if you get caught using drugs, then you'll pay the price for that. You're going to enter into and complete the Decision Points program through the probation department. You're to have no contact with David Makar or Josh Russell or anybody with their family members. You're not to go to that property. No contact means you're not to have anybody else facilitate contact on your behalf either. You understand that?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
With regard to that, Your Honor, I just want to let you know that ultimately there is a pending civil action. Is it okay to have contact for court purposes only with regard
Yes.
to them, both of them?
That's-
Okay.
That necessarily has to occur, but outside of that, nothing else. And you're gonna pay the costs and supervision fees in this case. Ms. Warren, any other terms you think are applicable?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
You understand the terms?
Yes, Your Honor.
If you don't comply with the terms, the state will file a motion to terminate your community control. And if it finds you violated, you face 18 months in prison. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is there anything else, Ms. Wood?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Novotny?
No, Your Honor.
All right.
They had multiple drug tests, all negative. And the irony of all of this, Your Honor, is he was actually tested the day he brought a fake urine and he was negative. So I'm going to respectfully ask the court to, keep him on a short lease, but give him one more chance. Let him show the court that he can continue on with his counseling and continue to provide negative drug tests. I don't think you're going to see Mr. Merck again if the court gives him a chance. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Merck, what do you want to say?
Your Honor, what I did was degrading, unintelligent, stupid, pathetic, and all that, and highly embarrassing. I promise I will pass every single drug test from here on out. I've tried to follow the rules. I just scared it did something stupid. It's not gonna happen again.
What'd they tell you at Lake Geauga?
That I was in pre-contemplation, meaning that I have no, doesn't see me in the foreseeable future of changing, might be in a little bit of denial, but I had my first counseling with him this past Wednesday, where I fully got to tell him a lot more, and I think he would change his assessment a little bit than what he originally turned in. I could be wrong, but it seemed like
What's the plan going forward with?
that I see him twice a month. My next appointment is April 10th in the morning. And I guess they give you a date, your next meeting as you go in.
Okay, anything else?
No, Your Honor, I'm just very sorry, very sorry. I let my family down and everything.
All right. All right, I've had a chance to find out what the contents of the Lake Geauga report, went back and reviewed the record. You're going to stay on community control. You're going to follow through with the recommendations with Lake Geauga and complete whatever they recommend, and continue to comply with the conditions set forth when you were sentenced here on January 9th of '25. Ms. Randazzo, anything further with regard to conditions?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
You understand, Mr. Merck?
Yes,
Okay.
fully.
All right, no more screwing around.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, that's it.
Thank you, Your Honor.